Ladies and gentlemen, today I want to talk to you about something we all face in life: uncertainty. We wonder about the future. We worry about decisions. We struggle with waiting. But I want to tell you today, God will open the right door, so don't worry. God has a plan for your life. This is not just a comforting thought. It is a divine truth, a promise that should give you hope and confidence no matter where you are today. You are not here by accident. Your existence is not a mistake. From the very beginning, before you took your first breath, God knew you. He formed you, crafted you, and set a purpose for your life. The Bible tells us in Jeremiah 1:5, "Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart." That means God's plan for you was in motion long before you were even aware of it. Many people go through life feeling lost, unsure of their purpose, wondering why they are here. The pressures of the world can make it seem as if we have to figure everything out on our own, as if success depends entirely on our effort. But God's word reassures us that He is the one who directs our steps. Proverbs 3:5-6 reminds us, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to Him, and He will make your path straight." When you put your trust in God, He will guide you to where you need to be. God's plan is not always revealed all at once. Sometimes He only shows us the next step, not the whole journey. This is where faith comes in. Just as a lamp lights the path one step at a time, God gives us enough guidance for the moment, teaching us to depend on Him daily. There may be times when you don't understand why certain things are happening. Doors may close. Opportunities may pass you by. People may walk away. But even in those moments of confusion or disappointment, you must believe that God is still in control. Romans 8:28 assures us, "And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love Him, who have been called according to His purpose." Even when life seems uncertain, God is working behind the scenes for your good. There will be seasons of waiting, seasons of struggle, and seasons of unexpected change. But God's plan is never delayed. His timing is perfect. What you see as a setback, He sees as preparation. What you consider a failure, He can turn into a testimony. God does not waste pain, and He does not abandon His children. No matter how far you feel from His plan, you are never beyond His reach. If you surrender to Him, He will lead you exactly where you need to be. Trust that the same God who created the universe has every detail of your life in His hands. Your job is not to worry about how everything will unfold, but to walk in faith, knowing that He who promised is faithful. No matter what you face, remember this: God has a plan for your life, and it is greater than anything you could imagine. Worry is something that weighs people down, stealing their peace and joy. It keeps them up at night, fills their minds with doubt, and makes them feel like they have to carry the weight of the world on their shoulders. But Jesus tells us in Matthew 6:34, "Do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. Each day has enough trouble of its own." These words are not just a suggestion, they are a command. God does not want His children living in fear and anxiety. He wants them to trust Him completely. When you truly trust God, you begin to realize that worry is unnecessary. God is in control of every detail of your life. He knows your needs before you even ask. He knows the challenges you are facing, the burdens you are carrying, and the concerns that fill your heart. In Matthew 6:26, Jesus reminds us, "Oh, look at the birds of the air. They do not sow or reap or store away in barns, and yet your heavenly Father feeds them. Are you not much more valuable than they? If God cares for the birds, how much more will He care for you? You are His beloved child, created in His image. He has not forgotten you. He has not abandoned you. He is working all things together for your good, even when you cannot see it. Letting go of worry does not mean ignoring responsibilities or pretending that difficulties do not exist. It means choosing to trust that God is greater than any problem you face. It means believing that He will provide, guide, and sustain you through every season of life. Philippians 4:6-7 tells us, "Do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving present your requests to God. And the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus." When you pray instead of worrying, you invite God's peace into your heart. His peace is not dependent on circumstances. It is a supernatural peace that calms your spirit even in the midst of storms. Many people spend their lives consumed by worry, trying to control everything around them. But the truth is, control is an illusion. No matter how much you plan or prepare, you cannot predict future. That is why trusting God is so important. He already knows what is ahead, and he promises to lead you if you follow him. Isaiah 41:10 declares, so do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will hold you with my righteous right hand. When you trust him, you release the need to figure everything out on your own. You rest in his promises, knowing that he is faithful. You let go of fear, knowing that he is with you. And when you do that, you experience the freedom and peace that only he can give. When one door closes, another will open. Life is full of moments when we face rejection, disappointment, and unexpected changes. We may plan our steps carefully, work hard, and set our hearts on a particular path, only to find that the door we were hoping for has shut in front of us. It can be frustrating, confusing, and even painful. But when we trust God, we come to understand that a closed door is not the end of the journey. It is simply a redirection towards something better. God sees the full picture of our lives in ways we cannot. What we often perceive as a loss or failure is, in reality, his way of protecting us from something that is not meant for us. Perhaps that job opportunity you didn't get was not the right environment for your growth. Maybe that relationship that ended was keeping you from stepping into a greater purpose. When God closes a door, it is not to punish or hurt us, but to lead us towards something greater. Romans 8:28 reassures us, and we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose. If we believe this promise, we can trust that every closed door is part of God's plan to bring us to a place of blessing. It is easy to become discouraged when a door closes, but God does not leave us in a place of uncertainty forever. He is always preparing something new. In Isaiah 43:19, he declares, see, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it? I am making a way in the wilderness and streams in the wasteland. Sometimes God allows doors to close because he is making room for something fresh in our lives. We may not see it immediately, but when we trust in his timing, we will realize that he is opening another door, one that aligns perfectly with his purpose for us. Waiting for a new door to open requires faith. It requires patience and a willingness to let go of our own plans so that we can walk in obedience to God's will. Proverbs 3:5-6 reminds us, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to him, and he will make your path straight. Even when we do not understand why certain doors close, we can trust that God is leading us in the right direction. His ways are higher than ours, and his plans are always for our good. So when you face a closed door, do not lose heart. Do not allow disappointment to make you doubt God's goodness. Instead, stand firm in faith and keep your eyes on him. The door that closed was not meant to be your final destination. God has something greater ahead. Trust him, walk in faith, and in his perfect timing, he will open the right door for you. God opens doors no one can shut. When he sets a plan in motion, no force in the world can stop it. No person, circumstance, or opposition has the power to undo what God has ordained. His authority is final, and when he decides to bless, to lead, or to make a way, nothing can stand in the way. Revelation 3:8 says, see, I have placed before you an open door that no one can shut. This is a promise that should fill every believer with confidence. It means that when God calls you to something, he will make the way clear. It means that even if people try to hold you back, even if obstacles seem impossible to overcome, the door he has opened will remain open. Then, sometimes in life, it may seem like doors are locked, opportunities are scarce, and progress is slow. It can feel as if every effort is met with resistance and the path forward is unclear. But God is not limited by what we see. He is not bound by earthly restrictions or human interference. When he decides to move, doors that seem permanently shut will suddenly swing open. Isaiah 22 declares, I will place on his shoulder the key to the house of David. What he opens, no one can shut, and what he shuts, no one can open. This means that God alone holds the key to your future. No matter what others say or do, no matter how impossible something may seem, when God commands a door to open, it will open. God's timing is perfect, and sometimes we must wait for the right door to open. It may be difficult to wait, especially when we feel ready to step into something new. But His plans unfold in His time, not ours. We may try to push open doors that are not meant for us, but if they remain shut, we must trust that God has something better. When the right door opens, we will know it because everything will fall into place according to His divine purpose. When God opens a door, it is not just an opportunity. It is an invitation to step into His greater plan. But walking through that door requires faith. It requires us to let go of fear, to trust Him completely, and to move forward with confidence. Sometimes the open door leads to unfamiliar territory, new challenges, or unexpected changes. But if God is the one who has opened it, we can trust that He will equip us for whatever lies ahead. No power in the world can close what God has opened. No enemy can block His blessings. No situation is too difficult for Him to overcome. If you are waiting for an open door, hold on to His promises. Stay faithful, keep trusting, and believe that in His perfect time, He will open the right door for you. And when He does, nothing and no one will be able to shut. Your job is to walk in faith. It's not about having all the answers or seeing the full picture. It is about trusting God even when the path is unclear. It is about believing in His promises even when circumstances suggest otherwise. The Bible tells us in 2 Corinthians 5:7, "For we walk by faith, not by sight." This means that as believers, we are not called to live based on what we see, feel, or understand. We are called to trust in the one who sees the end from the beginning, the one who has already prepared the way before us. Walking in faith requires surrender. It means letting go of control and allowing God to lead. Too often, people want to have every detail figured out before they take a step. They want to see the whole map before they begin the journey. But God does not work that way. He gives us just enough light for the next step, teaching us to rely on Him daily. As Psalm 119:105 says, "Your word is a lamp to my feet and a light to my path." A lamp does not shine miles ahead. It only illuminates what is directly in front of us. It is about taking that next step even when we cannot see the entire road. There will be moments when faith is tested. Life will bring challenges, setbacks, and uncertainties. There will be times when it feels like nothing is happening, when prayers seem unanswered, and when doubts try to creep in. But faith is not based on emotions or circumstances. It is based on the unchanging character of God. Hebrews 11:1 reminds us, "And how faith is confidence in what we hope for and assurance about what we do not see." This means that even when things do not look promising, we trust that God is working. Even when doors seem closed, we believe that He is making a way. Faith is also about obedience. Sometimes God asks us to step out before we see the results. He calls us to move forward when it does not make sense. Think about Noah building the ark before the flood, Abraham leaving his homeland without knowing where he was going, or Peter stepping out of the boat onto the water. Each of them had to act before they saw the fulfillment of God's promise. Faith is more than just believing, it is doing. James 2:26 tells us, "A faith without works is dead." When God calls you to take a step, obedience is the key to unlocking His blessings. The journey of faith is not always easy, but it is always worth it. God is faithful to those who trust Him. He never fails, and He never abandons His children. Your job is not to figure everything out, to force things to happen, or to worry about how it will all work out. Your job is to walk in faith, trusting that God will lead, provide, and fulfill every promise in His perfect time. In His time, the right door will open. Life often feels like a series of waiting seasons, waiting for a breakthrough, waiting for an opportunity, waiting for a prayer to be answered. It can be frustrating when we feel ready to move forward, but nothing seems to be happening. We may wonder why God is delaying, why things are not working out the way we hope, or why we keep facing closed doors. But the truth is, God's timing is perfect. He sees what we cannot see, knows what we do not know, and is always working behind the scenes. Ecclesiastes 3:11 reminds us He has made everything beautiful in its time. That means when the time is right, the door will open and it will be better than anything we could have imagined. One of the hardest things to do is to wait patiently when we are eager for change. Our human nature wants everything to happen instantly. We live in a world of immediate results, quick solutions, and instant gratification. But God does not operate on human timetables. He is not in a hurry. He is more concerned with preparing us for the blessing than rushing us into something we are not ready for. Just like a seed must go through a process of growth before it becomes a harvest, we too must go through seasons of preparation before stepping into what God has for us. Isaiah 60:22 says, "When the time is right, I, the Lord, will make it happen." No amount of striving or worrying can speed up God's perfect plan. When He decides it is time, the doors will open effortlessly. The delay is not a denial, but a form of protection. God may be keeping us from something that is not His best for us. He may be closing a door because He knows that if we walk through it too soon, we could miss out on something greater. What we see as a delay, He sees as divine timing. We must trust that He is leading us towards something far beyond what we could have planned for ourselves. Proverbs 16:9 says, "In their hearts humans plan their course, but the Lord establishes their steps." That means even when things do not go according to our plans, God is still directing our steps toward the right door. Faith is essential in the waiting season. It is easy to trust God when everything is going well, but true faith is developed in the times when we cannot see what is ahead. Waiting is not wasted time. It is a time of growth, learning, and strengthening our trust in Him. Instead of growing discouraged, we must hold on to His promises and believe that He is working all things together for our good. When the right time comes, nothing will be able to stop what He has set in motion. No obstacle, no opposition, and no delay will be able to keep us from the door that He has ordained to open.